Okay, this is another shiny gold trade. It's a historical trade on Striker on 9/7/2022. I'm going to go ahead and lock this date right here. And let's look at the S&P. Look what the market was at that day on that time. So we have straight line information. Basically, this is probably not crossing yet, but and that one maybe not strictly that one right here and right here. Let's look at the Dow. Not crossing here. This is crossing, crossing, crossing. We were looking at the daily. Really not quite on the daily. So I'm not seeing any. Let's go back to Striker. Here we go. So we'll take a look at when the earnings were. The earnings were kind of a ways back, July 26th. So 7 weeks or something like that, 6 weeks earlier. Look at the individual stock itself. So this is crossing, 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 crossing. So straight line information up for the on the 233. We'll look at the weekly. So what I had written down was this was a tough one to call as white, despite the smaller charts. Actually, let's take a break. Let's go back to the smaller charts. This is probably crossing right here. I could turn off the candles, but if it's not, it's close. It's also above the 55. The stock RSI is crossing and the MACD is, that may not be quite position one, but it's close. And we have crossing on the directional movement. On the 3 day, we are um, basically just kind of pushing off the 21 here. And that's pretty close to a doji on the previous candle. This candle's actually closed. Well, it's not technically closed because this is a midday candle, so there's still a little bit of movement left. And actually, if I were to go forward, it would not be a doji. It'd be a small white candle. So if you look at the shape of the 3 day, it looks like it's kind of doesn't really have a strong upward move. I'd say it's really kind of going sideways or standing still, probably. The daily does look like it could be moving up. However, with this 13 down, 13 MA moving average line down is kind of a little bit less. There's a struggle there. Let me see. Let me put it that way. There's a the wrestling on the weekly. Um, I said it was tough to call despite the smaller charts, and their charts are read from large to small, large to little. Um, we do have some movement up on the stock RSI and the MACD, and the directional movement are really in the noise right here. The 233 is rising slowly just above, and the 21 is declining steeply above that. So this would have been a hard one to enter, but it was a historical trade. But regardless, I think what I so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to slowly move forward on this one. So it starts at 208.55, 1, 2. So that would be the 7 hour rule. Certainly no reason to exit at this point. However, it is such a big move that one could start, from 208 to it's a 10-point move. That's about a 5% move in a day. That's substantial. So that's the 3 candle rule right there, having moved up 20 points, so 10% in 2 days, 2 market days. That's substantial. Um, I think I'm not really sure how I didn't my write-up doesn't really say. I think I was just surprised I didn't write it up before I went through the trade. But we'll go ahead and count exit criteria. We have the up auto wave line. We're just above the 233, but I would still count that as resistance. You know, there'll definitely be a pull. We're above, so that's 2. We're above the above 80 on the stock RSI. This is cocked, so that's 4. We do have continuation. 5 with this auto wave line. 6, 7, 8. So there's and almost 9. The top wick, I'm not sure where the top wick is. So I'd say high 229, 233, 229. So basically the top wick also touched. So that's like 9 or 10. That's so many. So there's no reason to really this one where you could actually does go up a little bit more. But this would be plenty of reason to exit this trade right now. If I go one more, it does bump up another 3 points, so another percent or so, a little 1.5%. Even stronger reason to leave. And so this is actually the height, basically right there. But so what do I learn from this trade? What I wrote was perhaps this would be an opportunity to do a hedge trade. The weekly color of the candle call had a lot going against it, in my opinion, especially with this steeply declining 21. But there were indicators that a good move higher was very possible, which of course I didn't write down. But I think, these indicators there's some stuff indicating a higher move was possible. So let's just kind of move forward again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I mean, I think exiting on this deciding right here and then just exiting that morning would have been really kind of ideal. And if you look back to where so it pushed through this 21 and basically hit this 144. And if you can also see this 34 is declining. We're on resistance here. There's a lot of resistance, so it would be very imprudent to hope and pray. But I think it's a good trade to have kind of in the bag because, I mean, as something to review every once in a while. It's kind of interesting. It really took a little bit for it to move lower, but anyway, maybe I shouldn't have continued on with the video from there. So that is that.